I think the greatest bonding is over a meal, whether it's with friends, whether it's with family, whether it's with people you work with, whether it's a mafia sit down, it's over a meal because you really bond over a meal. Food is love. It's love to me. It's love to large. And I just want you to show my love.
Hey everybody, welcome on back. It's the You Gotta Try This podcast. It's our second episode. Last episode, we had a ton of fun with my very good friend, Nick Mangold, my second favorite Jet of all time. I didn't realize that Ian was such a huge Jet fan that it was what you'd say it's a thrill to talk to Nick last week, Ian?
It was kind of surreal.
Right. And I'm not overstating. Yeah, you're not overstating it. I almost thought I was for a second. So it's good that I could get that done for you, basically. But Ian's favorite personality here in Barstool, or at least one of his favorites, is Stu Finer. And I said, holy shit, that's one of my best friends too. So today's guest, and he's going to be here for the whole goddamn thing, is none other than Stuart Finer, my good friend standing right next to me. How you feeling, Stu?
It's an honor. It's a pleasure. God bless you. May God be with you. This morning, Ann said that she is investigating you, me, Sandy, and Ann going to Greece.
Yeah, she mentioned that.
So I'm looking forward to that coming to fruition. I'd love to hang with you in Greece. We could share gut level. We could hang out. We could just, smoke cigars and just eat the best food in the world.
We were at a family dinner last night for Fat Tuesday. We're taping this on Wednesday, first day of Lent. And she had mentioned it too. She was like, we have to look into going to Greece with Stu and Sandy, which I think is such a random thing. And it's not for some people, but it really is for us. There's going to be a ton of glazing on this podcast. And I can tell you that with 100% certainty that Stu Finer loves me. And I can tell you that it's 100% a reciprocal relationship that we have. Stu is I have to put Willie in that conversation. So he's one of the two most generous people that I've ever met. And I spent a lot of time in a lot of different industries. I just have. So I've been around a lot of people who have nothing but will give you whatever they can come up with. I've been with people who have everything and won't fucking part with a penny. You know a lot of those people, Stu, right?
100%.
Yeah. I will tell you, when you give away stuff at a event, the people with the most money are trying to grab that medium shirt that won't fit them. It's fucking crazy. You have people who have, access to 4 different pools fighting each other for a free fucking koozie. Whereas you have other people who don't have a pot to piss in, but as soon as they get it, they offer you that pot to piss in yourself. And Stu falls in between there. Stu has made tens of millions of dollars in his long and storied career, and he has spent just over whatever he has made. He's the type of guy that the last check that he writes when he dies, hopefully 60 years from now, I guarantee that last check bounces. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yes. Correct.
Yes.
There's no other way around it.
Yes. Make $1, spend $1.50 and borrow 50 cents from your local mafia guy paying half a point a week.
But when you do, yeah. And by the way, now I'm tempted to go and do a deep dive on this asshole again. But I will say the Twisted History of Stu Finer, part 1. Part 2 is okay.
I was stoned for part 2. I wrecked it. I'm sorry.
No, you did not wreck it, but I'm just saying it was such a high bar.
Part 1 was amazing.
Part 1 could possibly be, I don't know if it was my favorite Twisted History, because obviously we've done some pretty heady things. We've done some topics that are bigger than Stu Finer. We've done some genocides and do something. But I will tell you, outside of Twisted History, if you do all-encompassing, all the stuff I've done for Barstool Boxing and NASCAR and Twisted History and Barstool Breakfast and everything else that I've been involved with, I've had the opportunity to talk with a lot of celebrities throughout this small career I've had here at Barstool. That was the best interview that I ever did. I think that you were so goddamn honest. And it was the easiest interview I ever did because I'm talking now, but this interview right now, the show could go a different way. I could say, hey, Stu, what's going on? And then I could turn off my mic for an hour. Like, it's one of those things. But we're here to talk about food. We're here to talk about food. You and I.
I just want to say a couple of things. when we did that Twisted History on me, when you said, and you came up with it, you originated it because, first of all, you were so generous to me and allowing me on Barstool Breakfast with you, with Willie, with Pat, with Jet Ski.
Yes.
And
Za, too.
Oh, and Za.
He was just behind the counter. You didn't see him. Yes.
Yes. You were the first person while I was doing Sports Advisors to put me into the mix, to put me on to another level. So every week I would come in early, come on to Barstool Breakfast, and that would really set the tone for the day. It would loosen me up, and it also would allow me to be great on Barstool Sports Advisors with Dave and Big Cat, because it wasn't like Cole doing it. And I already had a good show under my belt, specifically because of you. But then when you said to me, Stu, let's talk about your life on Twisted History, what that did is open the Pandora's box of Barstool, because then Spit and Chicklets heard it and said, Stu, we have to have you on. We heard you on Twisted History. That was unbelievable. And then KFC said, Stu, we got to have you on. And they really piggybacked along on really what you opened up for me. And then Bussin' with the Boys said, Stu, we didn't even know you ever had a story. We heard you on Spit and Chicklets. We heard you on KFC, and we heard that it originated on Twisted History.
Those guys were too dumb for Twisted History. I can say that now that they're gone. Fuck those guys. Fuck you, Will Compton. Beat me in the dozen, you handsome dumb fuck.
But so they allowed me on Bussin' with the Boys, and it was their third, at the time I was on, it was their first, but it's their third biggest podcast ever. The only people that got more views than me is Joe Rogan and Donald Trump. That's it. That's it.
Wild.
And so a lot of my success and credibility and love is directly because of you, and I can't thank you enough. So I just want to say that.
That's the glazing thing. And if you want to know about mine and Stu's relationship with food, you're going to hear about it today. I'm going to tell you a story. I go out to this asshole's mansion. So if you've ever been to Bethpage, ever had the pleasure of playing Bethpage out in Long Island, Stu's about a 7-iron away from some Bethpage. You go to this
300 yards ball you could hit onto the yellow course.
Yes, and so we go to Andy and I pull up to his house. It's a sprawling estate. And this isn't a dick measuring contest, what I have and what Stu has throughout here. I just want to set the table for it. And beautiful house. And listen to Twisted History on how he got the goddamn thing. Like, honestly, the guy is... And that's why selfishly I can't take too much credit for it, Stu, because that show was all you. Maybe I was the first one to see that your story was so goddamn interesting. But when Kevin started doing the behind the blogger stuff, I remember when I did it with him, everyone was like, oh my God, I didn't know that this guy had life experiences, because most of the people here started at Barstool straight from college. So other than saying that they did keg stands at fucking Duquesne or, banged twins at Arizona State, they didn't have much more depth than that. But you were the type of guy who said, I wrote $44 million worth of business. I had the mob shaking me down, all that. And then conversely, I was under SEC investigation. We were trading IPOs. I was on the floor. Like, it's these older guys. Stu and I are older guys that have a lot to still contribute to society. That's the most pathetic thing I ever fucking said. Anyway, I'm at this guy's estate, and we're having this big blowout party. I don't even know what the fuck it was for. I have to leave because the kids were younger. They were at home, and I had to get back to them. I say goodbye to Stu. I say goodbye to your pop. I say goodbye to Sandy and a couple of your sons. I think 2 of your sons that I had seen there. He comes running to my car as he sees me going with 10 pizzas. He's like, can you bring these home for your kids? Listen, I know that Stu can, readily afford 10 pizzas. Have you ever had somebody try to put 10 pizzas in your trunk? I've never had it. I've been spinning around this fucking mortal coil for 53 years. I've never been given that. And I just think that that's just a tiny little slice. Let's talk about some of the meals that we went to. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's go Smith & Wollensky's.
Smith & Wally's. I'll set the table. Stu says, let's go to Smith & Wollensky's. Smith & Wollensky's is a steakhouse on the east side of New York. And it's one of the first meals that I went to with my father-in-law, who had passed away in 9/11, when I started at his $2 brokerage on the floor of the American Stock Exchange. So I'm very, very intimately aware of everything Smith & Wollensky's, including Smith & Wollensky's Grill, where I spent this last Christmas eating their prime rib hash, right? Smith & Wally's Grill is one of my favorite. The prime rib hash at Smith & Wally's Grill is one of my favorite dishes in the city. We were in the steakhouse, which is connected to it, so a little bit more fancy. Stu invites myself, Patty from the Out and About pod, and also was my producer when we were on Barstool Breakfast. He invited a guy who used to work here, the $20 chef, Sean Latham.
Correct.
Yourself. I don't even know who else was there, and I really don't care. We get the table at Smith & Wally's, a table that I've eaten at before, but with kind of heads of captains of industry. And it's this corner table that is not a corner table, it's a booth table where the back wall of the booth is an open floor-to-ceiling window into the kitchen. So you're essentially seeing the kitchen going. It's a very, very cool table to be at. And again, it's a booth, so it's kind of surrounded, it's intimate, and you feel like a big shot. Stu gets that table for us.
I'm dying to spend $2,000, by the way. The premise was we're going out to a $2,000 meal on me, and I can't wait to get
lunch
there to spend the money.
Lunch.
It's burning a fucking hole in. Ooh. Are we allowed to curse on
You
this?
can. I was just. I told him we couldn't curse on the way in. You should.
Okay. It's burning a hole in my pocket, and because I so love Large, I so want to impress him, B, to do something special, C, to show my love, and the way I show my love is spending my money, and conversely, the greatest thing in the world that I think the greatest bonding is over a meal, whether it's with friends, whether it's with family, whether it's with people you work with, whether it's a mafia sit down, it's over a meal because you really bond over a meal. Food is love. It's love to me. It's love to Large. And I just wanted to show my love. So I'm dying to go to this place and order 3 bottles of champagne immediately out of the box for $450 a bottle. Large grabs me by the hand and literally squeezed it like I was his enemy and said, listen, I am not allowing you to piss away your money like that. I don't care how much money you got, how much you want to spend. If you're on a bender, it's not happening in front of me. So he stopped me in my tracks. And you can continue now.
No, so but the thing is that again, Stu, Patty, me, Sean, there's 4 of us, right? So he says we're going to do a big lunch. When he starts off lunch ordering about $1,300 to $1,500 worth of champagne, like he wanted the guys just to have them there chilled on ice, so we'd have essentially a bandolier strap of very expensive champagne. I'm not a champagne drinker. I'll do it on occasion, toast and stuff like that. Patty, surprisingly, I say surprisingly because a lot of gay guys like champagne. He's not a champagne drinker either. Sean may have been one. Stu does drink a lot of champagne. You're not a big booze guy.
No, not.
Never have been.
No, not. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't like to ever feel out of control.
Right.
I can snort 3 8-balls in front of you. I can smoke an ounce of pot in front of you.
Yep.
I can eat acid.
Yes.
And I'm in control. I could drive to Atlantic City and back at 120 miles an hour, blow every toll. I know. I have.
Kids, don't do that.
No, never do that. I have 100 times, but don't do it. When I drink, I lose the ability to be in control. And I don't like to be irresponsible. And anything can happen. Like I could go from being an upstanding citizen to trying to tongue kiss your wife. And I just don't like to feel like that. I don't like other people, be honest with you, drunk around me to that level because it's sloppy. I feel very uncomfortable around them. And to be honest with you, because my girlfriend, which became my wife, was always a 10, when my friends got drunk, they tried to hit on her.
Right.
They literally did. And so it really turned me off to ever getting drunk. Now, can I drink a bottle of Grey Goose? Yes. Can I drink 6 martinis? Absolutely. But I just don't like the feeling. In addition to feeling out of control, I go to sleep. Like I'll be talking to you and I'll be like, wow, Lord, your mother really has cancer. Like right in front of you. So in other words, you add all that up and just, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah. My mom is perfectly healthy.
Okay, good. Shout out, Mom. Shout out, Mom.
So I stop him in his tracks. I'm like, Stu, order a fuck you meal. I'm going to order some wine. And I took him over the coals a little bit, but we did a steakhouse wine. So we did like, I don't know, a $400, instead of 3 $450 bottles of champagne.
2 $200 bottles of wine.
We did about $400 in wine, two $200 bottles of wine. And if you've been to New York steakhouses, this was about 4 or 5 years ago. It's
Maybe
kind
even
of
longer than that.
maybe 5-6 years ago.
Alex is getting me the clip that I'll send you, and Ian will have it. So you can cut it up and see some of the videos from it.
And so I saved him some money. I saved him a little bit of money, which then he went to go soup to nuts. There are certain traps in steakhouses that you guys already know. When a waiter comes over and says, "Can I make nice for the table?" I tell those people to go fuck themselves. I mean, I am not him, brother. I am not him. You don't have to do anything for me. Listen, I am a terrible athlete. I am probably a terrible lover. She doesn't complain, but I'm probably a terrible lover. I'm a terrible person. I know my fucking way around a menu, right? And I'm going to spend a lot of money in your restaurant. I'm driving this bus. Listen, if somebody comes in from out of town and is not sure about this or something, then yeah, you can help out. But we're in a fucking steakhouse. And yet, the seafood towers, everything that you can do that's delicious. Some of it's unnecessary. Stu fucking orders up way too many lamb chops, way too much steak. I think he brought out a whole fish. There is no reason. Everybody went home with a fucking doggy bag. And then at the end of it, it was like that Monty Python sketch where the guy has that one last mint. Then they come out with just this dessert sampler, right? Like all this stuff from it. I will tell you that there are a couple of things that should be on your bucket list. And a lot of people comment on social media how much they'd like to go for a meal with me. And I'm very, very happy when people say that. It's very complimentary, and I thank them. I think it would be an equal to better experience to go out for a meal with Stu. And I think you should try and buy at a charity auction dinner with me and Stu, because it's always, I think it's always great. And we only go to finest places. I'm going to mention another place that I just thought of. And again, this goes along with the generosity that you have. I don't go to Broadway. I don't fit in the seats. I don't enjoy it. And I mentioned this on maybe Barstool Breakfast to Stu. His segment was cocaine in your coffee, right? Like he used to come in Barstool Breakfast and bring the energy like nobody's business. So when I said I didn't like Broadway, he said, "I'm taking you to Hamilton. It's you love Hamilton."
I die for Hamilton.
Yeah. So I said, "Stu, I'll go with you." He gets myself, my wife's friend O'Malley. Remember O'Malley?
Yes.
I think both
her two kids.
Her two kids. Sandy and Stu. We're sitting, I think, third row center in Hamilton, back when Hamilton was impossible to get fucking seats for. And we met at the Capitol Grill, I think down in Feiner,
Wall Street,
where he rented out the bottom room in the vault. So there's a 40-ton vault door that's all open. You know, it's very nice. You walk into the vault. You can't help. Did you have this feeling? You can't help but think, what if some asshole comes by and closes the vault and we're just in there forever or something like that? You know what I mean? Like where we're shitting in champagne.
Be like a Batman episode.
Yeah. We sit down. We go soup to nuts again. A meal that you shouldn't have before you have to go and sit down for 3 hours with the bubble guts watching Hamilton. I snuck beers in. Like I went to the bodega across the street, snuck a couple of tall boys in because I'm white trash. I can't get that out of me. And I had the time of my life. I did enjoy Hamilton, but I think I enjoyed Hamilton. I would never go back to Hamilton unless I go with Stu Finer. You make everything good. You make everything better. You sometimes make everything illegal. You sometimes make everything, you know what I mean? The type of thing where you're like, you don't want to have kids around. And Ian will clip this out. But there was a point about 5 minutes ago, and I just couldn't stop him, where he said, "I don't like that feeling where I'm out of control," when he's on alcohol. But he talks about dropping S and driving 120 miles an hour back from Atlantic City. So what I'm saying is that the reason that I have Stu here is because what do you think's the best meal? Who's the best person that you've ever had dinner with? What's one of the most expensive meals that you've ever been to? Give me something of a food memory for yourself. It doesn't have to be necessarily either of those two questions, but just give me something that makes you happy about a meal that you've had somewhere in your past. We haven't prepared for this at all. I have no notes. I'm not opening up my fucking laptop for this. Talk to me about a meal that you thought was special.
There was a couple. Can I do one with Barstool people?
You can do. So this is your show. This is Stu. Got to try this.
So this is when before Frank met Jenks, before Frank the Tank was a superstar. Just started rolling a little bit with Barstool, and his sidekick was Doug's.
Coach Doug's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love Coach Doug's.
And, at the time, Tank is trying to diet, but he's still binging out. He's eating like a king. And I said to him, did you ever go to a top-of-the-line steak place? Which Tank said no, and Doug said no. I said, did you ever have champagne? Tank said no. Doug said no. So it was me, my third son, Ryan, Tank, and Doug's. We go to Blackstone Steakhouse in Melville on Long Island.
Okay.
Top-of-the-line steak place. And it was I spent on purpose, because they didn't grab me by my hand and threaten me, I spent $2,000. So it was a $2,000 meal.
3 people.
So we 4 people. It was me, Tank, Doug's, and Ryan. So
Okay, that's right.
so we immediately bang out 2 bottles of Dom Perignon champagne, and I'm trying to get Frank drunk. Like he only drank 1 glass. Doug's is drinking it like it's water. Ryan,
Right.
water. Me, water. And we're buzzed. I get the cold seafood tower to kill with everything on it, from lobster to shrimp to crab to oysters. It was like the best of the best. Then I get like 5 potatoes. I get the lobster mac and cheese.
Right.
I get 3 vegetables that none of them touched the fucking vegetable, the cream spinach,
Right.
everything. And then I get like the Kobayashi steak that was like exactly would piss you the fuck off. They're charging $350. They bring this hot seared plate and they put it on the sear. It should cost about $110. They charge $350. I get like 4 different types of steak. I get like 7 different desserts. I get after dinner drinks. I drink like 4 espressos. I'm buzzing. I'm feeling amazing. And for me, that was like one of the funnest things in my life, because not only do I love eating, do I love great food, do I love great company, but I am the ultimate people pleaser. And because I struggled with money so much in my childhood, when I say my childhood, from when I was, let's say, my memory was, let's say, from 2 to, let's say, 13, my mother and father, I don't remember literally a day they didn't fight about money.
Okay.
They literally didn't fight about money. So my goal in life at the very beginning of my career was, I thought if you had money, you would be happy, you would be successful, and you wouldn't fight. There wouldn't be that constant agita, the constant stress, constant pressure. So at the beginning of my life, when I started making money, and I made it very quick and very fast, my first job that I worked for myself, I made $250,000 year 1, 1982, when I was 21 years old. Year 2, I made $500,000. Year 3, I made $1 million. So that's how fast it happened and went. And my only goal, and really my demise to my future, is I wasn't, educated enough. I didn't have really the wherewithal or the plan what to do with the money. So my plan was to spend the money on my family and friends to impress them, but to take them to another level that there's no way in God's name they could ever do it on their own.
Right.
I took my entire crew, 10 people, to 12 Super Bowls, spending $100,000 at the Super Bowl, being in the Ritz-Carlton, 5-star hotels, eating every night at the top of the line places, having to have them give us sports jackets because nobody even could afford a sports jacket that was with us to go into the place, and just to live large, but just to make a unique, unforgettable experience for everybody. So when you should have seen the smile on Frank and Doug's faces. Now, as it turns out, Doug's parents have a ton of money. They're millionaires. They belong to a fucking country club. He walked around like he was a vagabond poor man. That's not actually true. That's not his story at all. It was a complete fraud, a complete fucking scam. And when people wondered why the fuck did he fall asleep at his desk and not do dick, that's why. He didn't actually need the money. He is an intellect.
I will not stand for any Doug slander. I didn't know that he came from some dough.
A ton of money.
I love Doug. So
I would die for him.
Yes,
He's my favorite guy ever. Yeah. But I'm just saying that
if he doesn't, and the thing is, Coach Doug's could be watching this right now. Stu and I are going to bust everyone's balls out there, right? Yeah. So fuck you, Doug's, but you know that we love you. Go ahead.
Oh no, he knows I love him.
Of course,
yes.
Yeah.
But in other words, he was so grateful, Doug's, and so classy.
Yeah.
And Tank was like mesmerized. Tank was like a kid in a candy store. Think of Tank having no limits, doesn't have to pay for anything, could never afford that meal if his life depended upon it. And even
particularly back then.
Of course. And even if he could, he's never doing it. I've been with multimillionaire people. They just will not spend money. They don't, like you said, they do not. They're very tight. So because of a lot of my insecurities, inadequacies, fear, people pleasing, that I think is the key to me being happy when I people please to someone. I spend, I spend. I drop thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands in a moment just to make people happy. Even if I'm never going to see that person again, even if it's going to hurt me, it doesn't matter to me. So that was one meal that it was the middle of the day. It was on a Sunday. It was for absolutely no reason besides I just wanted to make that moment special for everyone. You know what I'm saying?
I have two questions about that. Is there another way to make people happy with a low barrier of entry like food? I find the answer to be no, and I believe you might agree with me. There's nothing else that we can do with a stranger or an old friend or something in between that's as easy to please you both by just taking them out for a good meal and not necessarily a $2,000 lunch.
Right.
Like if I find a place that serves the rip noodles, if Gian's famous, I take you for rip noodles, the spicy cumin lamb noodles. They will knock your fucking eye out. And you try the black vinegar for the first time and you're like, this is life-changing. And we sit there for 35 minutes and I spend $25. I would consider that one of the best afternoons that I could possibly spend and with somebody that I want to spend it with. Conversely, I could take you to Per Se and we can go through soup to nuts and I could spend thousands with the same person at the same time. And I think that food, and the reason that we do the show, I think that it is the easiest way or lowest barrier of entry to be social. I think more than drugs and alcohol. Do you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. There's not, you could be cold sober with someone, but just have a bowl of soup, have a salad, have a meal, have a dessert. And for me, it's just a way of really diffusing life's problems. For that specific time you're there with someone, you're sharing, as I say a lot, I use the term like gut level.
Yeah.
You're sharing gut level. You're not holding back. You don't have your wall up.
Right.
You're not afraid to share anything. You don't need to say to someone, I don't want this repeated. It goes without saying. You know what I'm saying? What happens at the table, the dinner table, the lunch table, even the breakfast table stays at the table. And when you're with someone, I think they pick that up too. They're not going to rat you out. They're not going to put it on social media. They're not going to say, hey, I just went out with Stu and A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It just is, for me, it's a great feeling. For me, I am always under pressure. I am always under the gun. It never, ever stops. It has not stopped since I've been in this business, and it's still to this moment. My stomach is churning every minute of every day because the anticipation of at 6:30 Eastern, I have to pick games for tens, hundreds, certain times the big games, Super Bowls, the March Madness, thousands of people that are relying on me to be accurate in something that's almost impossible to be accurate at, that I'm going to absolutely fail 41% of the time when I'm at my ultimate best. So for me, I very rarely, even though certain times I might seem happy, look happy, am happy, I am living in the moment, but it never stops. So the time that it does stop for me is when I eat. The time when it does stop for me is when I'm with someone that I love, that I could share gut level at a meal, and then I could just talk openly. I'm not worried about, what I say, how I say it, what's going to happen. It's one of the only moments in my life that I could be specifically present, with no pretense, and just feel like a normal human being must feel.
I hate that answer so much because I should have that answer. Like I'm the type of guy that dwells on things too. Like, and I sweat stuff that doesn't need to be sweat. And I do it without letting people know about it. And that really that one is sometimes when I sit down to a good meal. You summed it up fucking perfectly for me. And there was a small trend on Wall Street before I had left where instead of taking somebody to a expensive dinner, why don't you take them out for a workout? Like invite a client out for a workout and you can kind of connect with them that. I've never done that. Obviously, I've never done that. And I don't know if it's still one of those things that's a thing right now, but I hope it failed miserably because the idea of taking somebody out for a meal is probably the most perfect thing that you, and by the way, my meals on Wall Street were, I'm going to spend $2,000 on you. Tomorrow you're giving me $10,000 worth of business, right? So to have that type of return on that type of investment, and I found out that I could do that, then I had to go out 3, 4, 5 times a week because that's the easiest way to make money. You tell me I'm going to take you out for a fucking $50 hamburger. You're going to throw me $100,000 in business over the next month. Let's go out for hamburgers every fucking day. So I think it's a great thing for business. It's a great thing for my soul, right? And I think it's a great way to keep up friendships. But my second question is, now that we're starting to get, how old are you?
64.
64. Now that we're starting to get towards the back, well, we're on the back nine of life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We've already turned the corner. We might even be on like 13 or 14. Who knows where
Correct.
Do you have any regrets?
I could die on the way home in an Uber.
Yeah, we could die during the show.
It wouldn't be surprising.
This could be our last show. But
yes, literally. Like, enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the in memoriam show for Large and Stu. Any regrets? Like, I know that I've done stuff in my life where I've spent money that I think I want to get back. Like, I have some regrets on some of my cars. I have regrets on some of my vacations where, you spend a lot of money on cars and on vacations and on stuff like that, that in retrospect weren't that great and were totally unnecessary. And maybe I want to have those in the bank. I want to have that money that I spent, the thousands on that, in the bank. Do you ever feel like that now that you're a little bit more fiscally responsible, just a little bit more fiscally responsible? Do you ever regret all the money that went out the window for some of this lavishness? The answer could be no.
The reason it's no
yeah.
is because when I was 28,
yes,
all my dreams came true. I had an incredible business making $1 million a year, so I was a millionaire, and I was the only millionaire I knew. None of my father's friends were millionaires. Mm-hmm. Nobody around me was millionaires. Nobody around me was ever going to be a millionaire, and I was a millionaire. I was able to, I'd say for 84 to 88, spend like $4 million cash driving to Atlantic City, Vegas, Super Bowls, every World Series game, every concert. I've seen everybody and anyone with a ton of friends sitting first, second, third row. The only dream I didn't have was, and you alluded to it earlier in the show, when I was 13 years old, I worked as a landscaper on this 7.8 acre breathtaking estate.
Yes.
It was the Schwindler estate. William Schwindler was the co-founder of Grumman Aerospace. William Schwindler's claim to fame was in the movie Apollo 13 with Gary Sinise and Tom Hanks. He was the scientist. He was the engineer that saved their lives. There's a scene in the movie where they throw all these things on 2 big tables, and this guy says, "You're the smartest people in the world. They're going to burn through the atmosphere and not live. You got to get them down." Apollo 13. And he figured out how to save them. I worked for him as a landscaper. Day one there, it was the most beautiful place you've ever seen in your life. Horses,
yes,
chickens, thousands of trees, where in Farmingdale, this house is where normally you have a 60-foot by 100-foot house. This guy has 7.8 acres, 1936, English Tudor, chicken coop,
breathtaking
fawn,
Tudor,
horse stables, like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Day one, I worked there, 13 years old. I said, "When you die, can I buy your house? P.S. he laughed and said nothing.
You were how old when you said that?
13.
You're a 13-year-old punk kid cutting his lawn.
Correct.
And
Day
you
one,
said to
first
this
day
gentleman who saved the Apollo 13 astronauts that my name is Stu Finer. Someday I am going to be one of the most rude guys that's ever been in front of a microphone, and I'm going to buy your fucking house.
Correct.
Yes.
And he built all the fighter planes and all the specific technical fighting objects that in World War II, we won World War II. He was one of the main people from Grumman. They built all the fighter planes. Mm-hmm. And vice presidents were in his basement that eventually became my basement. So to your point, my dreams came true. You know, when I saw The Who, first row center, and I was slapping high fives with Peter Townsend and Roger Daltrey. I saw the Stones 30 times, first row. I saw all my great bands, where it was Yes, ELP, Genesis, whatever it was.
Didn't you invite me to like Dua Lipa?
Yes.
Like a year ago?
Yeah,
front
2
row?
years
I
ago.
think
Yeah.
you took Erica.
Yeah, I took Erica, I took Daniela.
When I said
I took
no,
Alana, yeah.
Then you took Erica.
Correct.
I was
correct.
Yes,
well, you and Ann, or anything I did with Barstool, I always ask you, can you go?
Yes.
And the only reason you weren't with me is you had obligations.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, I travel a lot.
You know, that was the bottom line. So, all my dreams really came true. When he died and I bought the house, then it was like, I've got the world by the balls here. This is an unbelievable life. So that so that all my dreams came true. I got married, my childhood sweetheart, when I was with my wife 10 years in a day. She was a 10. I was a 6. She was super smart, photographic memory, can answer every question on Jeopardy. Smarter than Tank, believe it or not. I'm a half an idiot. You know what I mean? 550 math, 390 English on my SATs, 940. They called me into the office and really wanted to see if I actually was a Jew. It was the lowest score any Jew got ever in the history of life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Every Jew that I hung out with got 1,400, 1,500,
yes.
whatever.
1480.
So you got 4, right? Yeah. Exactly. I got 940. 550 math, 390 English. I barely can spell my name. You know what I'm saying? It's spelled Stuart. Sometimes I spell it Stew because I'm not smart. I'm really not smart. I'm funny. I rise to the occasion incredibly. You put the camera on me. I'm ready to go, but I'm not smart. So to answer your question specifically, the only time that I feel that I should have saved my money,
yes,
is when my wife or my kids say to me that we could be on easier street than we are. And then I feel guilty.
Okay.
I feel guilty that I was selfish. I feel guilty that I lived and pretty much until, like you said, May 1st, 2022, I spent $75,000 on a party. Soup to nuts. We had 731 people. And that is the last party I'm ever allowed to throw. My wife took my dick and took my balls and put it in the safe. Where people say, Stu, take me out to that. No, I can't do anything for the rest of my life because I sold my soul. And I sold my soul like 50 times over, but that was the
last straw.
That was it. My wife said, listen, I'm going to fucking leave you. Yeah. We have no prenuptial. I have everything you've ever done wrong to me in my life, and you're financially, fiscally a degenerate and a train wreck. I'll get everything. You'll be living in a pine box. And I said, you're right. So that's it. So the party is over. But so when you see, like, I live in an insecure life, feeling very secure. It's just the way it is. I have unbelievable confidence that no matter how bad things are, I'm going to make it happen. It's going to happen. I believe it's because of what I do for a living, where every night I have to battle against the odds maker in an unbelievable situation. And 41% of the time I fail miserably and I have to watch it. Like me and Alex to this day, I only get 3 hours sleep. I only sleep 3 to 4 hours for my entire life. People say it's unhealthy. I doubt that. I ran a marathon at 56 years old. I ran it in 4 hours, 39 minutes, 24 seconds. Tiki Barber only beat me by a minute. So that's a jerk off. That's not actually true. You don't need sleep. You sleep when you're dead, and that's fucking true. But anyway, so I think that I've always been selfish. And when people really call me to the carpet and say, Stu, instead of spending $20 million on nonsense, people that don't even see you anymore, people that don't even respect you, people used you. that's when I take account of, I could have done things differently.
So that's where the regret comes in then.
Correct. But only when I'm called to the carpet, but not my conscience.
Okay. So you would never. Okay. So you would never organically be like, I wish I can get that Doug's meal back.
Because to be honest with you, I had $4 million in the bank. I was writing $400,000 a week at my heyday. It meant nothing. It didn't mean anything. Money does not buy you happiness. Money does not make you secure. If you're insecure, you're going to be insecure with 10 million in the bank or nothing in the bank. That's how I work. So in other words, and I like that I have to be driven every day to be excellent, every day to still work out. Like I'm 65, but I might as well be 19. I work just as hard now at 65 as I did at 19, 64, excuse me. I'm going to be 65. I grind every single night. Me and Alex stay up until the West Coast games go final every night. That's 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. We set up the website for the next day. We get the plan. I look at the games. I project the odds. I see of what I have. And then I fly. So in other words, and I get up at like 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning, waiting to drink. I love Stella Blue coffee. I'm guzzling it every day. I should own half the company.
Shout out.
They should give it to me, because I'm the biggest promoter.
Yes.
I can't wait to drink my coffee and start my day, because every day what I try to do is almost impossible. So, but that keeps me alive, keeps me on edge, keeps me on the fence. So I think if I had money in the bank, I would blow it as quick as I did when I was 19. So
there are a lot of people who have a lot of money in the bank, a lot more money in the bank than you or I will ever see. And I don't have any money in the bank. But I speak about us like we're peers, and I don't mean to deceive anybody. I'm not wealthy like Stu is by any stretch of the imagination, nor is my wife, right? So I don't know about the money that had come in, but I will tell you I've been lucky enough to have some money in the bank, and I've been lucky enough to meet people who have a lot of money in the bank, and they'll never spend it. They'll never high five Roger Daltrey. They'll never, take a chopper to fucking Atlantic City at the last minute when he finds out that there's traffic. That's never going to, and I wonder what's the benefit of just looking at a statement every now and again, other than providing for your future generations. I understand that you want to leave something behind for the kids and all that kind of shit. I get that. But sometimes these guys have stuff on statements where, Warren Buffett is eating in McDonald's for breakfast for some reason, go out and spend it. And there's a balance, right? There's a balance to saving versus spending, just like everybody knows. You've definitely crossed over that balance, right, to spending versus saving. But I'm very happy to hear that personally you have no regrets for it, because it's made so many fucking memories for literally thousands of people. I think collectively in your career that you've touched. And then you make that exponential to millions of people who've heard you talk about it on here, Twisted, Bussin', that type of stuff. You've become there's this mystique about you that everybody at Barstool has a narrative. Everybody at Barstool has a narrative that they not necessarily is the way that they live their lives, right? Like PFT's has a name, you know what I mean? And has a life, where he's not called PFT. Stu Finer is exactly what you see on film, and that's fucking scary, right? Because sometimes you're absolutely out of your fucking mind.
Correct.
But man, it's the best time. It's some of the best times that I've ever had. We're nowhere near being done. But is there anything that we should plug right now for you, right in the middle of this podcast, while we have people, enwrapped? What should people be doing to put even more money in your pockets? That way you can take me out to another meal.
StuFiner.com, StuFeiner.com. I sell my selections every night of the week, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, and I grind. I've invented the sports gambling handicapping industry in 1982. I literally invented it. Okay. I was the creator. No one was selling sports picks before me on a large scale. I created, I invented it, I grind. Okay. It is not about what you know, who you know, how you know. It's not about systems, trends, inside information. It's about grinding, reading the line, knowing where the sharp money goes, still the biggest gambling syndicates in the world, gambling syndicates that bet worldwide hundreds of millions of dollars, still check in with me every day to see who I like, what I see, and they share with me. So if you want to buy selections, if you're gambling, remember, gambling's for the rich to have fun and lose money. You have to have a bankroll. It has to be fuck you money. It can't be money that you're living or dying with. Call me at stufiner.com. Get over to the website. Also, I do these cameos that I absolutely love.
You love doing them.
I love them. Listen, I live for them. I love them. Birthdays, anniversaries, bachelor parties, weddings, anything. Cameo.com/Stu Finer. I do a fabulous job for you. It's so much fun.
Don't send them to kids. I will tell you.
But I do a lot of PGs,
okay, good.
Gs, and then, like on the cameo.com/Stu Finer, there's a section where it put notes. Do you want this full-blown Stu Finer X, R, PG, PG-13,
right.
Stuff like that. So,
but if you don't check that box, Stu will go X.
Yes.
That's my whole point. If you do check that box, he could wish your princess a happy 5th birthday from the prince or whatever.
Exactly.
If you don't check that box. I had my son was here when he was in high school with a bunch of his high school friends. One of his friends, Sully, was a huge fan of yours. So we had all these kids walking around. Mick's friend, Nikki, loved Frank the Tank. Went over, took a picture of Frank the Tank. So the people that he was with, girls and guys, had about maybe like 10 high schoolers here. You're going around and seeing certain personalities. Sully sees you, gives him your phone. Stu's like, I want you to stick your thumb in this girl's continent. It was fucking awesome. And then everyone's like held back. So if you want something that's as raunchy as you want for a bachelor party or as innocent as you want for a christening, you might want to go to stufiner.com and sign up for a cameo. Is that fair to say?
Fair to say. Can we just add to
go
to edify
whatever you want
the world?
Go. This is the easiest one we've ever. Are you okay with this so far, Ian? You're having a good time back there, right?
This is great.
Okay, good.
So, what's the hot thing right now that people are investing in? These meme coins?
Yeah, shit coins.
Okay. So I just want to explain something to someone. If me and Large are going to rob somebody,
right,
I'm going to take my father's loaded Colt, loaded Beretta, and I'm going to your house, and I'm going to rob you looking you in the eye. So anytime you think about investing in a meme coin or you hear about a meme coin or the people that are starting meme coins, there is only one thing they're doing: robbing you.
Right.
Robbing you. You are getting robbed. It is a scam. It is a rob. It is a Ponzi scheme. Always has been. Always will be. So just when you do it, you have to know that you're going to lose all your money, just a matter of when. I hear people that have been able to time it right or wrong, but similarly, you have so much experience in the market, puts and calls. At the end of the day, no one wins. It's impossible to win. It is a quick fix for the people on top, like top of a pyramid scam, and they make money and all the people under them get robbed. So I just wanted to add that and say that.
Okay, man, we'll absolutely keep it in. Yeah, I don't invest in any crypto, which will change. But if you want to see somebody who knows how to responsibly bet in the cryptocurrency market, it's Ian. One of the biggest regrets, we were just talking about regrets, when we were doing Barstool Finance. So that's how I got to meet Ian. So Ian had come in and he started to create the Barstool Finance page while he was still in college.
Oh, wow.
And he built it up into something big.
That's exciting.
He got out of college. They brought him in as an intern and then gave him a full-time position. He was one of the guys that ran Barstool Finance with myself and a guy named Tyler Morin, who has the Water Coolest. The Water Coolest, it's a daily newsletter, and it's good. It's very, very readable. Sign up for the Water Coolest. I think it's very concise, funny, readable, the whole deal. So myself, Tyler, and Ian were the three-headed hydra there. And Ian did all of this stuff for us, constantly pumping Bitcoin. Whereas like an old school guy like me was constantly calling him a stupid fucking kid. And Tyler was taking my, thing. So
what was it at the time?
So when I convinced them to
finally buy some
to the family office portfolio, it was at like 24K.
Yeah.
It immediately dipped down to like 17K.
Yeah.
I doubled down. I said, you got to keep buying it. This thing's going to 6 digits eventually. And I was right.
Wow. How old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay, so Alex, my son Alex right now runs the business with me and Alex. He bought like 30 of them at 600 he had.
Really?
Yeah. And, sold them off. It doesn't have them no more, obviously. And my other son used to buy the one that was the valedictorian, my oldest son, had a ton of them, thousands of them in wallets when they were pennies, when they used to buy things on the black market.
Yeah.
And, they could have been gazillionaires by now,
right.
And they were telling me to buy it, but similar to you, I was like, it sounds like a scam.
Yeah. I'm going to be a fundamental investor till the day I die, and I don't buy and sell stock. Annie does all of our investing. So it's just one of those things. I have a situation for you and I want you to weigh in on it.
Go.
We had gone out with my family last night. So it was myself and Annie, my daughter Bridget, and my son Finnegan. My older son is away at the University of Alabama. We were out with Annie's Aunt Virginia and Uncle Jim, who are two of our favorite people in the whole world. They're who we spend time with down in Jersey Shore a lot during the summer. And Annie's cousin, Mike Fletch. This kid, my son Finnegan idolizes Mike Fletch, and he should, because Mike Fletch is a good person and just a wonderful guy. So we're going out for Fat Tuesday. And I go to this place in the city. I'm not going to mention the name of the place because that's not what we do here necessarily. I get the reservation more than a month in advance because we try to go out on certain holidays with them where we just have some fun. Get to this place for a 7:30 reservation, and I check in at like 7:25. So I'm a little bit early, but not overly early. McCarthy, table for table for 7. Oh, yes, that's your table over. This is what the woman says, the front thing. That's your table right there. They're just getting their entrees. You're going to have to wait a long time. That's all she said to my wife when Annie had checked in for us. So I could see that Annie was like visibly upset. And Annie's like, what are you talking? So I walked over. I said, I'm sorry, is there a problem? She's like, no, there's no problem. I was like, okay, Annie, what's going on then? Like, I don't know where the animosity is. Annie was just checking in. I didn't see her. She didn't come in like with any kind of attitude or anything. She wouldn't because I'd hit her. And the woman gave me the same exact thing. Yeah, you're going to have to wait a while. Why the fuck? And so I said to her, I was like, then why the fuck did I set up a reservation a month ago? And she's like, it's our busiest day of the year. I'm like, that's why I set up the reservation a month ago. Like, I know it's your busiest day of the year because you're a Cajun place and this is Fat Tuesday. It's the only fucking reason I'm here. So if you're telling me that I'm going to have to wait, she said I might be waiting 30 to 45 minutes for my table. There's no room at the bar because they're serving meals at the bar. So there's no way to get in there. I understand that people get busy. I do understand that people get busy and reservations get pushed and all that kind of stuff. But holy shit, in this economy where people are complaining about buying fucking eggs, if I'm going to go out for a night in the city at a place that's not, the most popular place in the fucking world on their thing, you have to do a fucking better job. You have to do, oh, listen, yeah, we're a little backed up because it's crazy. It's Fat Tuesday. Please enjoy the live band and let's get you a picture of fucking hurricanes or something at the bar.
Right. Appetizers,
there's
liquor
just
free.
Just a modicum of professionalism and service that is absolutely missing across the board. I will tell you right now, I will never go back to that fucking restaurant. And at the end of the fucking, they ran out of beignets. I love beignets. Zeppeli. So you know what I mean? They ran out of that. So I started the meal with the worst fucking taste in my mouth from this cunt, right? And then I ended the meal with the worst fucking taste in my mouth because it wasn't covered in powdered sugar from a fucking beignet. I will never go back there again. And by the way, some of the middle courses, some of them were misses. The hits were pretty good hits. Like I'd want to do one of those dishes. And again, I'm not blowing the place up. I'm not here to be a goalie and stuff like that. But I will tell you, if you're a business owner in this environment where people are paying maybe an extra $9 in congestion pricing now just to get to your fucking, all that kind of stuff, you got to start to provide some fucking customer service. It doesn't matter how busy you are. It kills you. If I was a mean guy, I have a small platform, I would fucking try to destroy this place, and I shouldn't because somebody has owned it and put their blood, sweat, and tears. Why do I have to try and destroy a place because of one person who's working at the front door? You know what I mean? I stood in front of the thing, and she's like, you're going to have to move. I was like, I am going to move, but it's going to be a fucking long time, I told her. Like, that's the type of thing. They had my table ready in 5 minutes. We got there, and we had the meal. So I was able to move some stuff along. How do you feel about that? How do you feel the service industry, particularly here in the tri-state area, has become And is it frustrating? Is it refreshing? Because I haven't seen it, particularly in New York City. I haven't seen the service aspect of this shit go up at all compared to how when I was a kid, people were begging to have you come in and fucking go to their restaurants. And it's just not that way anymore. And I don't know why, because I think I'm stopping going to restaurants where people are douchebags. How do you feel about that?
I concur with being so upset in that atmosphere because one of the reasons me and my wife only go out to the places that we've gone to for decades and they know us and we get that special treatment is because that would snap me.
Yeah.
I literally could commit murder. If I'm going somewhere and they're going to piss on me or not make me feel like that is the only fucking job they have is to run interference. If that table is going to be absolute, say the first thing out of their mouth should have been, I'm so sorry, Mr. McCartney. I love you. I'm so grateful you're here. Let me get you a couple of drinks and some appetizers on the house. Please bear with us. Totally my fault. I hope this won't ruin your experience. And that was simple. All they had to do is that, and you'd be bragging about, hey, listen, this place was jammed up. They troubleshooted it perfectly, and I had a great time.
Listen, I'm not, and believe me, I love free shit. Just a smile. Anything but, as I told your wife, it looks like you're going to have to wait a long time. I don't know where that animosity comes from.
A person should be fired. I've
dressed up a bunch of people, right? I picked up the bill. I dressed up a bunch of people. I took them from a different state, came from New Jersey, into here. And then Virginia, Jim, and Mike came from Brooklyn. So we came from a different borough in a different state to come and converge and have a fucking Mardi Gras thing. We're wearing beads and we're dressed in purple and orange. You know what I mean? Like the whole deal. I can let mediocre food go for good service.
Listen,
I will never let good food go with bad. Is that?
No,
this is my statement. I will let mediocre food pass for extraordinary service. I'm at a point now in my life where I will not let extraordinary food pass with shitty service. There should be no reason. I don't think this is too much of an ask.
It's not.
Call me a diva if you fucking want.
It's not.
If I'm going there right now in this economy and buying Canadian goods in your, no. If I'm buying whatever it is in your restaurant, I do need just a modicum of a smile. I'm not asking for a blowjob. I'm not asking for a free appetizer, although I would have absolutely gone down on one like a $3 whore. Just a little bit of service. And I'm almost at the point where I'm going to try and ruin your fucking restaurant if I don't get it. Right? I don't know what to do. No. Dave does it with pizza parlors.
Because it's, listen.
Yeah.
Listen,
I fucking hate that.
Time right now is money. Your time, your life is worth money. And the last thing you're going to do is be treated less than by anyone, anytime, anywhere, especially in a restaurant where you're looking so forward to having a great experience, having a great meal, relaxing. Life is so stressful under every circumstance, even the best of circumstances. Life is stressful. Maybe you have a great job, but your family's a nightmare.
Right.
Maybe you have a great job, your family's a nightmare, but your best friend just died. There's always complications in everybody's life. When you go out to dinner, when you go out to a meal, when you're looking forward to an experience, it can't be fucked up.
And I will never bring a Groupon, and I will never I tip like, my father was the only person I've ever seen do this. Whenever we'd go through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, I went to school on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. So I'd have to go from Brooklyn to Manhattan every day by train. That's how I went. Subway, hour and a half in, hour and a half back. There was just nothing you could do. Dinkins was mayor. Subway was not that great. Fucking sucked. When my dad was working at One Police Plaza, my dad was a structural steel worker. He was going in early. He was able to drive me and my brother to high school. And so for a chunk, like a good 2 or 3 months, every morning we get in my dad's work van. We would stop off at a deli, get a bacon, egg, and cheese and a cup of tea or fucking hot chocolate or whatever. We were too young. We weren't drinking coffee yet. And we drive in with my dad. He'd drop us off at school probably at 6:30 in the morning, way too early. And and we'd go about our way. But every day we'd go through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. It was before Easy Pass. And my dad was one of the only people that used to tip toll booth attendants. Nobody would do that.
Wow.
So I think maybe if the Battery Tunnel was $3.50, what is it, $19 now? $3, my dad would always give the guy a 10 and sometimes be like, keep the change. Give the guy a 5, keep the change. This was big back then. And it would light these guys up in their toll booths because they're just sitting there sucking in carbon monoxide all fucking day with like a small TV with the rabbit ears or like a transistor radio. This was like the fucking toll booth where Santino got shot, in The Godfather. This wasn't like anything that was air conditioned or any kind of Easy Pass shit. And it always resonated with me. Like my dad, again, he was a local 40 iron worker. Dropped out of school in the 5th grade when his dad died, became a deep sea fisherman off the coast of Ireland. He's a guy whose hands are a roadmap. He's a man's man. He's my fucking hero. And I'm nothing like him. I'm nothing like him. And it's one of my biggest regrets. I wish I was more like my father. Whatever. But he was always a big tipper. And I try to do the same thing and particularly in smaller places where it means more, it means giving a guy, $6.50 tip in a fucking toll booth. That guy's telling his parents about it that night. Oh yeah, I met this guy in an Irish accent who's fucking awesome. Keep the change, laddie.
That's
something like that. So I'm always going to tip well. I'm never going to come in and do that stuff. All I want is just to have a night out. And people in this generation will say that I'm asking too much, and they're missing the fucking point. They're missing the point because all they've done is go to fucking coffee shops with people with knit hats on, making them $7 coffees with fucking frowns on their faces. And it's got to fucking end, man. It's got to end. You go to a little Cuban place, guy gives you a corn muffin and a fucking coffee, and he's happy to fucking have you there. You know what I mean? So that's my little rant for the week, if you don't mind. The service industry is dying, and if it continues to die, I'm whittling these places down to like 3 or 4. I won't go to any place else in the city. By the way, I'm going to break in now. Stu takes me to some of the finest restaurants and gives me some of the finest experiences that I've had. That's not a lie. Stu and I are about to taste some Domino's after this is done. So we're going to run that as one of our YouTube shorts. We had done one, YouTube, is it a short? No, right?
Not quite.
No, okay. I'm sorry about that. No cap. We did it with Mangold last week where we did the Skyline Chili, did a collaboration with Grader's Ice Cream. And so we had tried this chili ice cream, which wound up being a lot better than it sounds. This week, we're going to try the viral Domino's hack. For people who don't like Domino's, I'm one of them. They say to try it this way. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to sit down with Stu and we're going to have some Domino's. So look for that outside of this episode.
And I'm excited because I have not had a piece of pizza since December 10th.
You haven't had a piece of pizza since. Where are you right now health-wise? What kind of health kick are you on?
I still fuck well.
Okay.
I still.
By the way, his wife's a saint. If you ever meet Sandy, she's just like, she's like my wife. She's like, oh, there he goes again. You know what I mean? She's an absolute fucking saint.
47 years together. It's like somebody, like I said, I put up a picture on Facebook that said freshly fucked look. Because we had sex, I think Saturday morning, and I put my face up after I showered and went outside. It's, it's
sure
my validation that your life is not over at 64 years old. You could still fuck. You could still have a new beginning. You should not just, hang out with a limp dick and live in less yesteryears. So that's the point. So I put up a picture that says freshly fucked look. And then somebody on Facebook posted, who cares under me, and then said, does your wife watch this? My exact comment, because I answer all the comments.
Yeah,
if your comment's rude, I delete you and I block you, and I will engage with you if I think it's adequate. With this person, I think I knew this person. I'm not actually sure, but I said, she said, who cares? And I said, you do. And then under it, I put, listen, I'm a comedian. I'm a performer. If you don't like my style, get off my page.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's basically that.
Yeah. You get a lot of...
So my health right now, I weighed in at 201.2, which is like, I've been as low as 148, which I would be an Olympic athlete. I could run 10 miles in 7 minutes.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'4" I'm 5'4" and 3/4. I say I'm 5'5". If I was 2 inches shorter right now, I'd be perfectly round.
Yeah.
Okay. So all my weight right now is in my stomach. So my ankles, my quads, my calves, above my neck are breathtaking, like,
Yeah.
Brad Pitt type.
Correct.
The problem is in the middle, it looks like I swallowed an 8-year-old. So I carry all my weight in my stomach, and certain times I pee on my stomach when I pee. So, I mean, it is embarrassing.
Right.
Certain times I have to hold my stomach up with one hand and hold my penis with the other hand.
Right.
As I pee into the bowl. So that's how I roll. I feel amazing. I feel fabulous. For money right now, I could do 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups. For money right now, I probably could run 3 miles in under 33 minutes, which is surreal. Absolutely surreal. But as far as a doctor's concerned, I'm on a ton of diabetic meds. I'm on a ton of cholesterol meds. I take a T-shot once a week that I shoot in my stomach. I take this cancer drug to make sure that the hormones don't get stored in my pec, so I don't have tits that I play with my titties.
Right.
My A1C last time, it got up to 13.6. It's 10.
It's big.
But
13's a big number.
Oh, it's crazy. It's like 9.6 right now. But my
is the average around 5?
6.
Okay.
But you take my heart rate, my blood pressure, 120/80. It's absolutely perfect. So in other words, I'm the guy you want on the front line. I'm the guy you want if your wife and children just got murdered in your house and there's somebody in the house, you give me your gun because I'm not a bad shot because my father owned a company that sold guns to ex-military, ex-police, ex-detectives. I'm the guy that I will run into the house to try to shoot the guy. I'm good. I flatline. There's nothing wrong with me. So if you talk to a doctor, he says he's going to die any moment, but that's what they said when I was 46. Here I am. So I feel great.
Right. But again, any second that could change.
No, I could die any moment.
But
listen, listen, if I died at 29, I had the best life possible.
Right.
As good as Frank Sinatra, did it all, seen it all, done it all. I have no regrets. I am living on 35 years past what I thought I was going to be. I'm golden. I'm good. I'm not one of those people that says, oh, wow, let's, But I've been trying to be good since December 10th. I've had no marijuana. I put the marijuana down only because I eat open-ended. I just eat open-ended.
Okay.
There's no stopping me. And I have no cakes, cookies, candies, ice cream.
That's big for you.
Yeah, my problem is my carbs. I love my carbs.
Right.
I love carbs.
Yeah.
Like, if I go back home right now and my house blew up and my wife was violently murdered, her head was decapitated, and guts all over the place, and all my kids' pieces of their bodies was all over the place.
Okay.
And my dog Aria was slashed in like 7
Aria's
pieces.
on your t-shirt.
Shout out Aria.
Yeah. Cut her up to pieces.
I would mourn.
Yes.
But then I would go have chicken chow fun and feel great.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
the
Like
fat noodles.
I would have the capellini with a cream sauce and I'd feel good.
Sure.
I'd forget everything really quickly. So that, I'd eat 3 bags of Ruffles potato chips and onion dip. I'm good. Like what just happened to your family? It was tragic, but I love these potato chips. So, it depends where you're at.
Stu, some people ask me what my favorite snack is, and obviously it's an impossible question because I can't get my mind around it sometimes. But if you give me a warm, crusty loaf of bread, if you give me some sweet cream butter, and you give me a chewy red wine, like a big red wine, I could sit there and just eat buttered bread and drink wine all day.
All day.
Until they just rolled me into a grave. I will tell you, I did lose a little bit of weight over the last year and a half.
And you look great. You don't look good. You look great. And Ann looks great.
If you were to lose, this is something that's going to be very personal. I don't know if you want to drop the lights for this. When you lose anywhere over 30 pounds on my frame, like I'm a bigger guy, I'm 6'5". So let's say I'm down 50 pounds or so from 320s, right? So I was 327 at one point, way too big. You do get another inch. Think about that. Like you're talking about pissing on your belly and stuff like that. So when all of a sudden things went in and all of a sudden this got a little bit bigger, I got a fresh set of downs. And Annie is in trouble all the time. I'm like, can you believe the size? Get in here. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
wow.
So at 53 now, I'm 53.
Shout out 53.
I feel like I'm 19 again.
You look amazing.
Honestly, I feel like I'm 19 again. So, and I'm doing it by going out with Ian. By the way, greatest sidekick ever because he doesn't eat anything. He doesn't fucking eat anything, Stu. So I take him out there. When I do my blow-ups, I try to do a blow-ups for this show because we're going to try to make this into a real show. and it's just been working for me. And obviously being a little bit more active. So I think that you're fantastic. One of the things that I'd never known about you, and I'm going to ask you now, I don't know if you can cook. Can you cook? Every time I see anything, and please follow Stu Finer on every form of social media that there is. Follow Stu Finer. Most of the stuff that I see, you have almost like that Big John Fisher, that Bosch guy from England, where you do like these sick takeouts, right? But outside of your breakfast that you sometimes cook for yourself, I don't see you behind a grill. I don't see you in front of an oven. I don't see you doing that stuff. Can you cook at all? I'm guessing that you don't.
You know what I'm
wrong?
You know what I'm excellent at?
What?
Boiling water.
Yeah, okay.
So that's about the extent.
Really? So that
I can dump a carton of egg whites into a pan, spray it with Pam, and dump everything in the refrigerator into the omelet.
Okay.
You know what I'm excellent at too? Elite. Putting toast in the toaster.
Toaster. Okay. So I'm not too far.
So that's about the extent of my level.
But so you've never had the desire as a guy who's had some of the finest food be like, oh my God, this roasted oyster, char grilled oyster, I think I know what's in this. And I think that I can replicate that parm, lemon juice, a little breadcrumb. Like, I think I can do that. And then you go home and you read. That's what I do so many times, like just from without reading, because I love to cook. I do. I love to cook. And it's one of the things that I'm good at. Again, I'm not good at a lot of things. And, but you don't get that itch in the last 60 years to sort of become a man. Your kitchen is beautiful. Your house is beautiful. Like, I would fuck your kitchen up if somebody would allow me to go in there and just start cooking for a big group. You don't get that itch to cook for people the same way that you get that itch to take people out?
No.
No? Okay. Simple.
I mean, first of all, that's called reservations
Yeah.
for a woman. You know, I mean, that's,
Okay.
I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, honey,
I hear you.
you know, make reservations or get your naked ass here
Right.
in front of the stove now.
Right. Yeah.
To answer your question
Yes.
specifically, when I tried to cook, I ate too much of the ingredients in front of me as I was cooking. So by the time I finished what I was doing, whether it was a steak, whether it was, I obviously have made fried chicken cutlets, fried veal cutlets. I've made chicken piccata. I've made veal piccata. I eat too much while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I don't have maybe I have ADD probably or something that I just like to sit when I eat. I don't like to prepare.
You like to be served.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I love being served. It's like getting my ass eaten. I just love it. I love being I love the whole nuance of it. I love, like you said, I love going into a restaurant. Stu, how you doing? Hugging it out. How's the family? How's everything? Everyone coming over to me. How's everything? Got your table. Got everything ready.
Right.
Are you on a diet? What's your carb level? They know with me. What are we doing here? The red sauce, what are we doing here? We spending 1,000, we spending 100. Where do we want to go? I like all that. I like all the pomp and circumstance.
Right.
So I've never really got into cooking. I've never actually it's never been satisfying for me.
That's where we diverge, because I'm torn about, and again, I don't have the means that you've had. But I think having you at my favorite restaurant and me setting up a table soup to nuts and us having a great meal would be wonderful. But there's also a premium on having you and obviously Sandy, that's a given, around my table on Sunday when I make a Sunday sauce.
Oh,
I sit down and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I haven't had broccoli rabe in ages. And we'll start off with this sausage Palermo, which I do from Arturo's with the hot peppers and the chivellata sausage on top of the broccoli rabe. Then we'll pretend that we're eating a salad, but we won't. Then we'll go right into the meats and the pastas. We'll do the whole thing up, and then we'll do some store-bought desserts. I don't bake. I don't bake. So we would have just, great ones. And I would know that I made that. And I know that I'm good enough with certain dishes, like a Sunday sauce, that you would be like, Jesus Christ, Lodge. I feel like I'm part of your family. And you just gave me one of the best meals of my life because I'm providing you with that service. Oh, you know what I mean? Like come
Sure.
in.
How did you learn to do that?
So when I was growing up, like my mom being an Irish immigrant also, we lived in the Bronx just for a couple of years and we moved to Brooklyn. And it was primarily an Irish neighborhood. It's Gerritsen Beach, Brooklyn. It's on the ass end of Brooklyn, not the sexy part where people are like, oh, I'm from Brooklyn because they lived in fucking, on Court Street for 6 months. We were there where we paid, we chipped in for batteries for radios. Everyone had a comb in their back pocket, that type of shit. So Coney Island, Sheepshead Bay, Gerritsen Beach. That's where I'm from. We had some Italian neighbors who would like send my mom Tupperwares filled with like whatever they had left over every now and again, just, like to try. And so a stuffed artichoke from this person to this person. And I fell in love with it. And then when I started on Wall Street, we had the corporate cards and taking customers out. I started to get bored with the steakhouse formula. So we started to go to different cuisines and I loved that too. Then I got laid off for about a year and a half. I'd gotten laid off. Annie was probably at the peak of her career at the time. So I had a sugar mommy for a year and a half. I used to drop her off, drive from New Jersey, drop her off at the stock exchange every day, go back home, watch the Food Network when it first started. This was just not like the Food Networks that you have now. It was just Emerald. Rachel Ray was like 16 or whatever the fuck it was. I'd learn something off there, go shopping, and I'd cook her a gourmet meal every night. We had bought the house from somebody who was a chef before, so it was the first time that I was around like all Viking products and stuff like that. And I loved it, and it became like a passion of mine. So I was constantly thinking about it, constantly trying new things. And now I very rarely use recipes. I just kind of do stuff from taste, and it's a home run. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, because I think that our relationship, you and I consider you a close friend if that's okay. And I know that it's reciprocal.
An honor.
Yeah. I think a lot of the relationship that we have was built around food, particularly Gentleman's Friday. Gentleman's Friday was
amazing.
Awesome. It was the greatest thing, the greatest part.
Amazing.
It was, and then our meals that we've done, biggest ones to smallest ones, and seeing like my daughter come home from school for lunch yesterday, and I was home. We'd done some basketball tournament in the day, went home to do the rundown, and then my daughter came home because we were doing it on Zoom because Clem was on it. My daughter came over for lunch and I made her just like this little gourmet lunch. To see her light up knowing that her friends are having fucking Lunchables or something just makes, it just makes me happy. And it's the same thing as, I think I get the same high off of that as you seeing Frank eat, on Chateaubriand for the first time, so that's where it goes. We're going to have to wrap up soon, right?
Yeah. I have one last question for you.
Go ahead.
If that's okay.
Yes, Ian.
The breakfast sandwich platter
He's
video,
fascinated
whatever
by
you want to
breakfast.
call it. Does all that food get consumed by you?
Yes.
All the bagels, all the bacon, all the everything.
Everything I order is gone. Like the reason you have not seen bagels on my feed since really December 10th is because I literally eat 6 bagels. I mean, it's not funny.
It's disgusting.
It's like a disease. I am a gutter drunk when it comes to carbs. And I would say bagels, obviously a great Italian bread, a great semolina bread. I would die for pasta, but the breakfast I can eat 3 egg sandwiches. I can eat bagels with cream cheese, bagels with white fish salad, bagels just with anything on them all day, every day. And my breakfast is like when I'm rolling, when I'm smoking that blunt at 6 a.m, 5:45 in the morning, I'm looking around the floor for blunts from my kids that hung out. I'm eating like 6,000 calories for breakfast.
For breakfast. It's a waste of my time to ask this, but your death row meal, the first thing the warden says is, listen, you're getting put in the electric chair. We're finally on to you, Stu. You're getting killed tomorrow. The first thing that's going to be delivered to you at noon, you're going to be put in the chair at 3:00.
Not counting vagina, right?
Yes. And then at noon, they're rolling in a cart that's going to have a blunt on it, or whatever is your preferred method of smoking. So you will be sufficiently high for your last meal. Right. I think that's important. Distinction. I won't make that distinction with anybody else who's a guest unless we get Snoop on. What is the meal that you have when you're sufficiently high in your cell at noon before a 3:00 execution?
I need an 8-ball because I'm
Okay.
the only person in the world that I
eats
know
on Coke.
that I eat on Coke, and all I do is eat faster. That's it.
Oh,
So
okay.
got it, 5 lines.
Okay.
5 lines.
Fair enough. I'll have to talk to the warden. That's a little bit of a big ass.
Bottle of Cristal champagne.
Okay.
Shout out Cristal. I so love Cristal. I so love it. A blunt.
A blunt.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Then Death
By the
Row-
way, I'm nodding like, obviously, yeah, blunt,
Okay.
an 8-ball, Peruvian
Yes.
flake.
Yes.
Yeah.
God bless. Shout out Peruvian flake. Haven't seen it in decades, but it was the best.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was.
You had no problems after that. You didn't sleep for 72 hours.
You don't know what Peruvian flake is? Good. Yeah, good.
Good. Shout out. You're a good person. Let me see your wallet, though. We'll shake you down. I have people that can steal all your money in 5 seconds. Speaking of stealing, it would be 24 baked clams.
Okay. Excellent start, man. Excellent start. Clams or reganata?
It would be French onion soup.
Oof.
It would be shrimp, scallop, clams, mussels, ovo linguine with a hot Fra Diavolo sauce.
Fruta de mar Fra Diablo.
Yes,
Okay.
that would be
Diablo from the
the bread would have to be hot. I mean, piping hot. Then when I took a slab of butter, the butter melted like on it, like it was you freebasing.
a
Like you would
warm
have the bubbling.
semolina
Oh,
braid seeded is what I'm going to give.
oh
him.
my God.
With the so I make my own butter every now and again.
Oh,
That's
God.
and then I beat in the sea salt into the butter with the paddle. So that's the butter that I would have on the side.
Oh.
Keep going.
Okay. Then I would have to have some sort of olive spread
Okay,
also
like
to
a
put on the
tapenade.
bread.
Okay,
I love the olive spread.
I love it too.
I would probably have to go, and I'm a little boring with this, filet mignon medium or medium rare.
Okay, my least favorite cut of steak.
Because I just love it. And because to be honest with you, I like the grizzle and I like the fat on a steak, where if you're going to go, Romanian, or you're going to go a ribeye or something like that. But I just love the filet mignon. I
love
really
that you
do.
call the cut the Romanian cut. You're so Jewish. I love it.
I am
love
Jewish.
that.
Shout out Jews.
Yeah, shout out Jews.
Don't hate
Chosen
me,
ones.
but I know you hate me.
Chosen ones.
Shout out Jews.
Yes.
I know you hate me.
You know I love you.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Because I am an Irish Catholic Jew. My
You
wife's
are.
Irish Catholic.
Yes.
So it's
Twisted History is Stu Finer. If you want a whole background on this, honest to God, it's fucking fascinating. Go ahead. So now we're going to do a filet.
Okay. And then I think I go directly into dessert.
Yes.
Okay. I would go butter crunch ice cream with marshmallow topping and whipped cream.
Okay.
I would go
Not done.
creme brulee,
A little creme.
and I would go pecan pie.
And a
The pecan pie
almost.
is cold.
That shakes it up.
Cold with butter crunch ice cream on top.
Okay. With double
And then
buttercream.
I would poop,
Just take-
come back. and
well,
then-
that's what the Peruvian flake is from.
correct.
All of a sudden, we're starting to shit. Go
Correct.
ahead.
And then I would have a coffee cup filled with espresso times 3.
Okay.
So equivalent to like 12 espressos.
That is the perfect answer. That's not one that I would go with, but I don't, if we do this thing for a while, and if I ask that question often, I think that's probably one of the only times I'm going to hear it start off with a blunt and an 8-ball. Do we have any more time? Were you just signaling to me?
We're going a little long.
We're going a little bit long? All right.
It's okay.
Listen, I'm going to steal this from Bussin' with the Boys.
Go.
If there was one cuisine that you had to eat for the rest of your life, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Right? You had to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But whoever that cuisine originated from would be wiped off the earth in a Thanos snap. So if your favorite food is Italian,
I got
you
it.
say, I can do Italian breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I got it.
But every Italian is dead like that.
I got it.
Now, let me finish this fucking thing.
No. I'm not saying stop.
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I'm fucking with you.
Oh, God.
So it's a balance. This question is a balance of food that you like to the point where you can eat all the time, and a culture that you wouldn't necessarily want to die, but it's the least of all evils to wipe them off the face of the earth. What is that?
Chinese.
Chinese. So you're going to go
Chinese.
Chinese breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and there wouldn't be a Chinese person. I almost said something wrong. A Chinese person alive.
Chinese.
Okay. As a Jewish person, I thought you'd go German. I'm a little bit disappointed just to get back at them for the late 30s. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I could eat German.
Forgive and forget.
Okay. And with that, that's Stu Finer. Stu Finer is the source. It's football season whenever it comes back around and we do that.
Lodge, you didn't see.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Might have to cut that. Stu is on, what's the Sports Advisors?
Yes.
He started Sports Advisors. They brought it over here to Barstool. He does it with a host of talented guys like Dave, Dan, Jerry. Tommy does the some stuff. There's the head, the
Stats.
Tommy Stats is a weather girl. I don't know her name.
Ashley.
No longer. But I'm telling you that the only reason that show is a hit, I will say this with confidence, is because of this crazy son of a bitch right next to me. It's my good friend Stu Finer. I can't appreciate enough what you've done this week, just hanging out with me. And if you guys don't mind, we're going to have him back, obviously. And that's it. You got to try this with Stu Finer. We'll see you guys next week.
Love you. God bless you. May God be with you.